The Dodgers take the third game of the three-game series to the Nationals to salvage the series. They get back in the win column. Teoscar Hernandez went off. We're talking all things Dodger baseball, breaking down the win and the series. That's coming up next on the Dodgers Nation postgame show.
Another payoff. Freddie got him with a slider. Clayton Kershaw. It's Teoscar Hernandez. Mookie mashed. It's a grand slam. Showstopper and game ender.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to the Dodgers Nation post-game show. My name is Doug McKain, credentialed member of Dodgers Media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. If you haven't yet, you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And if you really want to support the channel and your Los Angeles Dodgers, smash that like button and also drop your comments down below. What is your reaction to the Dodgers win today and also their losing road trip? We'll talk about that coming up. And also, we got some news on Freddie Freeman and whether or not he's going to be back for his bobblehead night on Friday. So let's get into that. But the Dodgers get back in the win column. And yes, this has been an ugly road trip. This hasn't been the road trip that you hoped, especially when you start 8-0. You're talking about possibly going 9-0 to tie the 1940 Brooklyn Dodgers. They're also tying the 55 Dodgers and going 11-0. The Dodgers, they end up going 2-4 on this road trip. It was not an overly successful road trip, of course, by wins and losses, but you look at the strong start they had. You look at where they're at in the standings now. We're just starting the season. The Dodgers at the moment are 10-4, technically behind the Padres and San Francisco Giants in the division, but this is a team that's still on pace to win 116 games. They're not at full strength. They've had some starters go down like Blake Snell. They haven't completely hit their stride offensively. And on top of that, they've been dealing with all the festivities, all of the pomp and circumstance that comes from winning a World Series, from ring nights to visiting the White House to being the other team's World Series. So I do think, all things considered, you'll take this start. If I offered you a 10-4 start for the Dodgers to open the season, I think that you would sign up for that. It doesn't mean that there's not things that aren't going well. That doesn't mean that this team doesn't have some issues that need to be corrected and addressed, and we're going to talk about some of those. Today, the Dodgers, they get 6 runs on 8 hits, no errors. You bet without Freddie Freeman, though. Freddie Freeman, he has been out for a significant time when you consider the amount of time he's missed just early on in the season, right? And then Mookie Betts as well. So let's wait till this team's at full strength. Let's wait till the rotation's at full strength. Let's wait till everyone's gotten settled in before we judge the 2025 Los Angeles Dodgers. I've seen people out there try to send Andy Pages to Jupiter already. You want to ship him off to Pluto. You want to take Mookie off shortstop already. This is not something that this organization is going to do. They are not going to panic. That's not what they're going to do. They realize that it's baseball. You have to give the plan an adequate sample size to see if that player can do it. And the good thing about a baseball season is it's long. It's a long baseball season. It's 162 games. It's 6 months. The great Tommy Lasorda once said, in baseball, you lose 1/3 of your games, you win 1/3 of your games. It's the rest of those games that determine your season. So knowing that, I think you'll live with the losses if it comes with proper and accurate assessing of the players, of the situations, of what you have. And then like we saw last year, you deal with it when you need to, whether that be moving Tommy Edman to shortstop, whether that be changing things in center field like they ultimately did. They are going to make moves to give themselves the best chance to win. But let's talk about today's game. Let's talk about today's game because you did not want to get swept by the Nationals, the Fighting Walgreens. Doesn't their logo look like a Walgreens logo? The Trashionals, whatever you want to call them. You don't want to get swept by the Nationals. The Dodgers have not gotten swept by the Nationals in Washington since 2008. It's been a long, long time, and thankfully with the 6-5 win, they were able to preserve just that. But let's get into the action because it was a really up and down game for the Dodgers, and a game that looked like after a really hot start, they might still lose. But top of the first inning, Shohei Ohtani, he singles to open things up, followed by a Mookie Betts walk, and that brings up Tommy Edman, 1-0 count, runners on first and second, and Tommy Tanks continues to slug. He triples to right. That gives the Dodgers an early 2-0 lead. Shohei and Mookie come around to score, and then very next batter with Tommy Edman at third, a 2-2 count. Teoscar Hernandez, he takes a little hanging curveball on the outer half, and he crushes it for a bomb.
Both ends of the spectrum. Fly to left center field. Back goes Wood, carrying pretty well, and gone! Just enough to get it out of here. How about this start for the Dodgers? 4 runs before there's an out.
So that is the start you're hoping for. And Teoscar Hernandez already hit his 5th home run of the season. And last year, I think Teoscar Hernandez came to the year on a 1-year contract, hoping to put himself in a great position to sign a longer-term deal. And it wasn't a guarantee that it was going to be with the Dodgers. I bet if you asked Teoscar at the beginning of last season if he thought that the Dodgers were going to ultimately be the team that he would commit to long-term, he probably would be less than 50%. But based on how that year went, making the All-Star team, Silver Slugger, being clutch all season long, and winning the World Series, it was a natural marriage. And the Dodgers, they brought him back because they felt like for the next 3 seasons, he can be that right-handed bat that can crush lefties, that can come through in big spots, and he's been doing that so far early on this season. His numbers through 14 games are better than his numbers through 14 games last year. He's playing at a All-Star plus level where you're looking at a 283 batting average, a 316 on base, but a 623 slug. He has a 156 weighted runs created plus, 5 home runs, and 16 RBIs. He's gotten out to a fantastic start, and that start helped Landon Knack there in that bottom of the first inning. So Landon Knack getting his first action since Tokyo, getting his first start of the season, and he comes in there and I mean, first of all, it's going to kind of rewind a little bit. Jake Irvin, the Dodgers get Jake Irvin to throw 37 pitches there in that first inning. So you're probably feeling good about going up against Jake Irvin, getting those pitch counts up, getting those pitches up. But unfortunately, after that first inning, the Dodgers went 1 for their next 19 against him. And then you get Landon Knack coming out there in the bottom of the first inning. And if you remember, Landon Knack's first game as a Dodger, his big league debut last year, he gave up it was a single, and he ended up going out there and just against that Nationals team. So it's really cool to see him go out there against that, but he ends up giving up a single on his first thing, and then tonight he gives a home run to Abrams, 7th pitch of the at bat. That puts the Nationals on the board, makes it 4-1. Then he walks Wood, gives up a single to Ruiz, and on that pitch right there, he was struggling with glove side command. So the glove side command for Landon Knack just wasn't there on the inner half, especially to lefties. He was leaving stuff up. He was leaving stuff out over the plate. He just could not find that command on the heater, especially to lefties. Just too many walks. He ends up walking low to load the bases, and then Bell, he grounds out to Knack. That scored a run. That made it 4-2. So they get a run off the Abrams home run. They get a run off the bases loaded ground out to a pitcher. And the very next batter, Garcia, he hits a sac fly to center. That gives the Nats another run to make it a 4-3 game. So just like that 4 spot the Dodgers put up in the first inning was almost completely erased in the bottom of the first. Next batter, he walks Call. That gives runners on first and second for the Nationals. And thankfully, Mookie Betts' very first pitch to Paul DeYoung with runners on first and second. Mookie Betts makes his best play as a shortstop. Just an incredible read. Great backhand. Makes the throw. Good arm strength. Check out this play by Marcus Lynn Betts.
For Knack, and DeYoung, the 8th hitter. Pulls one to short. Speared by Betts from the outfield grass. As nice of a play as he's made it short.
I mean, it's a hot shot right there. Could have easily eaten him up, and it wasn't the case. So really, really nice job there by Mookie Betts to get Landon Knack out of that jam. And look, unfortunately, Landon Knack, he just wasn't able to put together a longer outing. He needed 69 pitches to record 7 outs. He left the game with the Dodgers trailing. And I think one of the takeaways for these two games is the two guys that come up, Justin Robleski and Landon Knack, those two guys are really put in difficult spots. And when you think about guys that really should be number 4 or number 5 starters at the very least at the big league level, but because of the talent the Dodgers have, they do not have that role for this team. So those guys both got called up and were expected to give them quality, but combined they gave up 13 runs in 7 1/3 innings. They had 7 walks combined to 6 strikeouts. So more walks than strikeouts, 13 runs in 7 1/3. So that definitely is not the outcome that you're hoping for those two guys. Thankfully, Jack Dreyer, he came in and he pitched very well. He pitched very well after he comes in the game, and I think Jack Dreyer, it's pretty clear at this point that he's going to be a dude all season long because he has that movement, the command, the kind of the on-mound moxie that you want, and he comes in there in the bottom of the 3rd inning in relief of Landon Knack. So Landon Knack, bottom of the 3rd, he gives up a 1-out walk to Lowe, Bell singled to right, and then Garcia, he doubled to right. That tied things up at 4, and then his day was done. In comes Jack Dreyer. Second pitch, he does give up a sac fly to left to call, and that gave the Nationals a 5-4 lead. But then he bounces back to strike out DeYoung. Nasty slider down and away. He's got it, man. Jack Dreyer, he looks like he's going to be a weapon for this team all season long. And then the game kind of hit a little bit of a lull. Both teams not doing much offensively. And then it picks up there in the top of the 7th inning. The Dodgers looking like they were headed for another road loss, a sweep to the Nationals for the first time in 2008. But then with Andy Pages at the plate, a guy who has been under adversity. He has been the subject of a lot of social media bashing because people want to see him sent to Pluto. Well, he sent a ball to Pluto. 0-2 count. Andy Pages, he sees a slider on the outer half. He was aggressive, and he crushes it for a bomb, and that ties things at 5.
Leans out, lifts a fly ball to left field. Woods going back. He's at the wall, and this game is tied. Andy Pages finds the seats for the 2nd day in a row. 5-5 in the 7th.
So great to see Andy Pages have that success. He also made a really nice sliding catch in center field earlier in the game. His 2nd home run in as many nights. And I think for Andy Pages, you have to just accept the fact that this is not what the Dodgers do. They are allowing Ha-Seong Kim to continue to cook, to keep him in the oven. He's not ready to bring it out of the oven yet, right? He's not ready for that. You need to let him cook, let him work through those swing changes that he's made. He's made some swing changes, and the slugging has certainly been there. But I talked to a scout yesterday that told me just because he's had early success does not mean that he's ready completely. And you want to allow for pitchers at the minor league level to make their adjustments to Ha-Seong Kim and see how he handles that. And then you kind of go from there. So let's not jump the gun and rush Ha-Seong Kim up, because you want to make sure that when he comes up, he's in the best position to have some success. And 2, look, Ha-Seong Kim, as much as I really am excited about him, and it's always fun, right? It's always that nice, shiny new toy that you want to play with, right? And that's always something that you feel good about. But Andy Pages hit 2 home runs in 2 consecutive days. Andy Pages hit 2 home runs in 2 consecutive days. The most home runs that Kim has ever hit in a season was 11, and that was in 127 games. Pages hit 2 home runs in 2 games. If I can tell you anything about the inner workings of the Dodgers, they love players that can slug, that can give you extra base hits, because that is ultimately what gives you the best chance to win in modern-day baseball. If you want the dub, you've got to slug, and Andy Pages certainly has the potential to do that at a much more prolific rate than Ha-Seong Kim. So that's something you have to consider as well. And if you look at Andy Pages, look, for as bad as his start has been, it just is another reminder of how quickly statistics can skyrocket after a couple of good games. It's such an early sample size that the numbers were really bad for the first couple of weeks. After 2 games where he's hit 2 home runs, Andy Paz is already a 92 weighted runs created plus. So that means that he's just 8% below league average at this stage of the season. So, look, I'm just here to tell you that we can post all this stuff and say, oh, we replace Andy Paz, this and that, turn the Paz and da-da-da. But the truth of the matter is this is a Dodgers organization that is never going to rush things because they understand what they're doing, and they realize that if you do that, then you don't have the full story of what a player's capable of. So they want to see what Andy Paz is capable of in center field. They want to see what Mookie Betts is capable of at shortstop. And today, Mookie, he gets hits, and he saved a run. He essentially saved a run today, and he also goes 1 for 4 with the walk. So if the offense continues for Mookie Betts, Mookie's hitting 310. So if you hit 310 and you slug 548 and you put together a season like he's having offensively, if you do it defensively, even near average, you're looking at a plus valuable shortstop. Mookie has a 167 weighted runs created plus this year. He's putting up MVP numbers at the plate. No one's really talking about it, but he is. So that's something to consider as well. So let's keep moving on this game. Andy Paz hits that bomb. It's his second in as many nights. That puts the Dodgers in a position where you got to look at that bullpen. Can the bullpen go out there and dominate? Well, they certainly got the job done after that Paz home run. Actually, even before then, before that inning, after Paz tied it, Ohtani, he reached on an infield single, and we got to see Shohei Ohtani steal a base. A couple batters later, Tommy Edman walked on 4 pitches. That set up Teoscar Hernandez at the plate with runners on the corners, 0-2 count, and he singles to right. That puts the Dodgers on top 6-5, and they take that lead into for the rest of the game. They put that on the bullpen. So next guy out of the pen, Tanner Scott. Scott had his best appearance as a Dodger. The location was there. The slider bite was there. He got Abrams to ground out. He struck out Wood with a 4-seamer, challenged him, bottom of the zone. Then he got Ruiz swinging with the slider down and away. So I really liked what I saw from Tanner Scott. He's rounding into form. The 2 strikeouts, the soft contact, he's going to be just fine. He is going to take on his role against the top hitters in the league, and that's what he's used for. So the reason why you don't have a firm closer and the reason why you go with a closer by committee is because sometimes you need to use your best relievers in the most pivotal spots in a game. And in this situation, why save Tanner Scott for the end of the game when you can use him in the 7th against the top of the Nationals order and get a 1-2-3 like he put together? So that was big for this team. And then you go to the bottom of the 8th, Alex Vesia, he gave up a 1-out walk, but he bounced back. He struck out Rosario, and then they picked off Rosario too. So that's a way they get out of that inning. And then you jump to bottom of the 9th inning. It really just an incredible play by Kike Hernandez here. So a 1-out single by Paul DeYoung. DeYoung steals second. Blake Trinan walks Cruz. And then with runners on first and second, you got the tying run on second. And Abrams, he hits one to first. And Kike Hernandez robs him of what could have been a base hit to tie the game. And he gets the lead runner.
Bouncing ball, diving stop by Hernandez, and he gets the out at second. What a play by Kike.
So it's not just that he made that play in diving fashion. It's the fact that he had the presence of mind to know to play back, to give you some extra room to field a play and make sure that you got adequate space. So he's one of the highest IQ players. Mookie Betts has said it. Dave Roberts has said it. If you ask both those guys, who's the smartest player you've ever met, both of them will say Kike Hernandez. And that was clearly a baseball IQ 1,000 play, right? I mean, that's the baseball Mensa meeting led by Kike Hernandez right there. So a fantastic job. And then it was not over yet because Abram, he does steal second. that takes away what Kike was after, and getting that lead runner was more important to just kind of save that hit from scoring through into right field. But the next batter, you get Wood to ground to second. That was the game. Dodgers get the win 6-5. Dodgers improved to 10-4 on a 116 win pace. I'm not looking at the standings. The standings don't mean much to me right now because there's a lot of baseball to be played. You got a home set with the Cubs coming up. Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound, and you also got Freddie Freeman back in that Dodgers lineup. So, yeah, of course this team's not going to be as good when you don't have your best pure hitter, and that's what Freddie Freeman is. And Dave Roberts, he said on Wednesday that he is going to be activated from that 10-day IL, and it's the first time he's eligible. Like I told you this whole entire time, this was going to be a short stint. He was going to be back for that Friday game against the Cubs. He was not going to miss his walk-off grand slam bobblehead night, and that's certainly what we are going to get. So great news to hear Freddie Freeman is back. But here we go. Let's get to the comments, guys. We're getting hoodwinked. D-Mac Paz ain't him, bruh. I'm not saying Paz is him. So let's rewind here and get back to that Andy Paz conversation because I'm very happy to do that. I'm not saying that Andy Paz is going to be that guy. He may or may not be the Dodgers center fielder come season's end, but what I do know is that the Dodgers options right now in place of him are Ha-Seong Kim at second and Tommy Edman at center, right? Well, Tommy Edman's best position defensively is second. And if you're going to keep Mookie Betts at shortstop, well, you don't want to have Tommy Edman be your center fielder for the entire season because once you do that, you make it where you have a guy who is a plus defender, a Gold Glove level defender at multiple positions, playing just one position, right? You want to have Tommy Edman do what he does best, and that is play multiple positions at a high level, plug him in when you need to. So there's the option. Another option, Ha-Seong Kim. Now, Ha-Seong Kim is speedy on the base paths. He is a great glove, especially in the infield. He's been playing center field for the OKC Dodgers. He doesn't slug, though. He does not slug, and we need to see him do it at this level. And what I've been told is it's too early right now to bring up Ha-Seong Kim. So the point I'm trying to make is why talk about moving off Andy Paz right now when it's not something they're going to do, right? I mean, I think that for me, Andy Paz had a really good start last season. He also was second on the team in OPS versus left-handed pitchers. Defensively, is he miscast as a center fielder? I think he is. He's someone that should be in the corner outfield spots. But right now, you play Andy Paz in center field to see what he has. And if he struggles, then you move off of him. But at the very least, you know when you do move off of him, you don't have to second guess yourself and say, oh, we only gave him 50 plate appearances. We only give him X amount of plate appearances. You will sleep soundly at night knowing that you gave him adequate plate appearances. I'll give you a perfect example. Look at Gavin Lux last season. Gavin Lux was one of the least productive, worst hitters in all of Major League Baseball for the first 3 months of the year leading into the All-Star break. He was one of the least productive hitters by almost every single metric. Then he hung out with Uncle Augie. They looked at some tape, and he changed his approach a little bit. And all of a sudden, Gavin Lux statistically hit at a top 13 level for the next 2.5 months. Didn't really carry over to the postseason for sure, but it just goes to show you that young players can have things turn around. And if they had moved off of Gavin Lux early on, they would have lost some of that production that helped them, especially when Freddie Freeman was out, when he was dealing with his son's illness, and they were dealing with some injuries later on in the season. So you don't want to just completely move off guys for a lot of different reasons, too. I mean, what if they wanted to trade Andy Paz? Does that look good for you to say, oh, this guy, we gave him a couple weeks, we gave him 14 games, and we moved off of him? Would you want to trade for a guy like that? No, right? So there's a lot of things in play. I think that there's this whole thing on social media. People are like, okay, let's post their stats and da-da-da-da-da. Dude, every player is going to go through slumps. It's Major League Baseball. Even the great players go through slumps. Shohei hit 200 for 3 weeks last year, okay? I mean, it just happens, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to make rash decisions. And me personally, you guys know, I love trades. I love trades. I live for trades. If the Dodgers could trade for Luis Robert Jr. and he turned things around, I would love that, right? I mean, because I think that the upside is certainly there. But I think right now you're in the state of we just won a World Series. It's early on the season, and you have to be able to hit on some of these homegrown prospects to sustain winning. You're not going to be able to sign every single one of your position players. You can't have all-stars and Hall of Famers at every single position, even though it feels like it is that way. So the only way to get homegrown talent, young guys to perform, is allow them the reps and the experience to deal with failure, to make adjustments. I think the big adjustment for Andy Pages today in his home run was the aggression. He had been letting a lot of pitches go right by him that we saw him swing at last season when he was hot to start the year. I mean, just look at this game, for example. Look at the at-bats for Andy Pages early on in this one. If you look at the strikeout there in the fourth inning, he struck out on 3 pitches. He took all those 3 pitches. It was strike 1 looking, strike 2 looking, strike 3 looking, all sinkers around 88 to 91 miles per hour. And then you look at the adjustment, top of the 7th inning, he was in an 0-2 count, but was forced to kind of put together a swing, and he did this.
Leans out, lifts a fly ball to left field. Woods going back. He's at the wall, and this game is tied.
So I think Paz was in his head a little bit. He's just got to go out there and let it fly. Just go out there, let it fly, and trust your swing, trust your production, and then we will deal with this center field situation as the year progresses. How about this, too? You want to see what the market is looking like when it comes to center fielders. Which teams are going to be sellers? I mean, you look at a team like the Dodgers that you know for sure are going to be a team that's going to compete, a team that'll be willing to trade for a player if there is a hole that they need to fill, right? But you got to see who's having good years, whose contracts line up. I mean, you look at someone like a Garrett Mitchell. I mean, you look at someone like some of these guys that hot starts, they've already kind of slowed down a little bit. So I think for me, that is kind of what it's all about, is trying to give this team the time they need to see the holes they need to fill. I think ultimately, I mean, you look at Luis Robert Jr., 10 games, hit 176, 43 OPS plus. I'm going to need to see a lot more than that before I consider trading for you. 1 extra base hit. He's had an awful start to the season. So, yeah, it's the questions they're going to have to answer is Mookie truly their everyday solution? Is he their long-term, short-term? What is he at shortstop and center field? Everything else is figured out. The corner outfield spots are locked in with Mal Conforto and Teo. Third base, Max Muncy. Muncy, after a slow start, he has picked it up to a degree. Let's see where Muncy's at right now. Yeah, he's had some games, but he's gonna need to pick it up for sure. He's hitting 174 with a 61. He's minus 61 weighted runs created plus. So he needs to pick it up for sure. But yeah, let me know down below in the comment section, who do you want to see as the Dodgers center fielder? We've got I simply blocked Diego. Check the schedule. Who was calling that pitch? Because it was all fastballs down the middle. Can we get the Laker game on in the corner? Yeah, I'm about to end this pretty soon, guys. I know you guys are going to watch the Lakers game. We'll be back tomorrow for Dodgers Dugout Live. I was sick today, man. I think I got the Mookie, man. I got the Mookie. My stomach was just in shambles. I had a fever. I was blowing chunks. It was not good. But I'm starting to feel a little better. But, I got to do a show for sure. We got we need a mod. Who's tripping? Who do I need to block? We need a block party. Simply 11B says bring up Hae-San Kim. Carl Diego stuttering is. We got hold up. Yoshi is injured since when? What are you talking about? Is that a thing? I don't think you're. I think that's. That's why I got to stop reading some of these comments when they're clearly uninformed. Doug, we got. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to definitely have to block some people that are spreading misinformation. So, bye-bye. You just got blocked. We got Muncy, our strikeout leader by far. I don't know when Dodgers slump. They make all-stars out of mid-players. D-Mac for third base. What up, Daniel Macy? What up, Val Reyes? What up, BC? Teoscar, center field. Teoscar doesn't have the speed for that, and he's played well in right field. Steven Blevins, D-Mac gave me the runs. Hey, I think I would love this offense to score some more runs for sure. 10-4 factors out to be a 116-46. We are fine. That's from Steve Schmidt. Thank you, Ella Shiva. Thanks, Tommy James. We've got Diego. This isn't a Pages burner account. Dodgers fans are just Rookie of the Year. I'm the biggest Andy Paz believer. This guy will start center field for us in the postseason. That's from Diego. We got D-Mac needs some abuelita escaldo. Yeah, send some of that abuelita escaldo. I need to crush that right now. 14 runs in 7 1/3 innings from our 2 young starters versus the Nats. Yeah, we talked a little bit about them earlier. And look, that's going to be something interesting to monitor is how do these guys that are down there, Landon Ack, Justin Robleski, Bobby Miller at some point, how do some of these younger guys that the Dodgers call on to make spot starts, how do they fare in those situations? Because that cannot be easy. One day you're pitching against AAA players with a couple thousand in the stands, and the next day you're pitching in front of 50,000, and then you're going up against big league hitters. That cannot be easy, but that is the task at hand for those guys, and it's unenviable because they could be higher on the pecking order in most organizations, but they find themselves in a Dodgers organization that's very stacked. So that is going to be something we're going to look at. And so far, the early returns are Robleski didn't pitch well and Knack didn't pitch well. So we'll see how that stays. D-Mac, stay away from Taco Bell. Diego, I'm not blocking you. D-Mac had a bad torta. Muncy is garbage. Now, Muncy's, look, the defense has been solid. The bat had his moments, but we'll see. Like I said, let's it's kind of TBD for some of these guys. And on tomorrow's show, I'll give you guys all the breakdowns of how everyone's doing through 14 games. So be on the lookout for that because it's still really early. I know I'm someone that I love jumping the gun too, so I'm not opposed to that. But I think that doesn't tell the full story. And I think, look, the truth of the matter is, that we need to see how this team looks in 30 games, right? And then we'll kind of assess where Andy Paz is at. Now, let's see. Is there anything with, let's see here. Dave Roberts from Fabian Ardaya. Dave Roberts said Landon Ack will stick around for at least one more turn through the rotation. TBD, it'll be against the Rockies. So we also have, yeah, that's what I've got. I don't see anything on Yamamoto. Let me look real quick. Let's see if we got any update on Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Yeah, his bullpen. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw him and Blake Snell feeding pigeons in the Dodgers dugout the other day. They become like best friends, Snell and Yamamoto, which is really cool. But, no news on that. So that's just misinformation by someone. I have no idea why. But that's going to do it, guys, for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live and Dodgers Nation post-game show. So we will be back tomorrow with Dodgers Dugout Live. And, yeah, this year we're going to do more post-game shows than ever. So they're going to be a little tighter. We're going to focus on just the games. And then for a lot of the other stuff, the other big topic stuff, we're going to have on Dodgers Dugout Live. So Monday through Friday, Dodgers Dugout Live every single day at 12 o'clock. Interviews, breakdowns, analysis, all the fun stuff you guys love for that show. That's like the flagship big show. And then this also is the post-game show where we get that down to the nitty-gritty of each game. So be on the lookout for that all season long, guys. So we're going to be doing giveaways, in-show giveaways too, T-shirts, hats, things like that. So a lot of exciting stuff this year at Dodgers Nation. I'm going to go have one of those, whatever you thought I needed to have earlier, and try to get a little better for tomorrow, and check out that Laker game too. But that's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Nation post-game show. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue,